Pubco Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell, and we are brought to you by Papa John's Pizza. You can get your Papa John's Pizza at papajohns.com for all the games this week. Yes, it is game week, Barry, and the inbox reflects it. Let's get started with Harry. Harry says, the last few national championship games, all high-scoring offenses against good defenses. 40 days will take that timing and momentum away from an offense. These offenses are not going to be at their peak as they were at the end of the season. They need to play the championship 2 weeks after the regular season. Florida State obviously playing Oklahoma State, so there's some reflection on what Florida State looked like at the end of the year. I mean, sure, offenses aren't going to be ready to go. It's the beginning of the year, Barry.
Yeah, we got a new college football playoff, but we got the age-old problem of the big break between games. I mean, the first week of December, the regular season ends, and then the major bowls are not played until New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And frankly, that's not going to change. That's the way it's always been. It's not going to change. If you want to change it, you got to scrap the bowl system. And let me tell you what, it's going to take more than just inefficient offense to scrap the bowl system. Bigger men than Harry and me have tried. So it's what we're stuck with. You just got to live with it. And, you know, the truth of the matter is we've seen some good offenses. For all of Harry, you know, Harry had some good points. But Auburn, Florida State was 34-31 final, and it was, it was some pretty good offense. So it doesn't indict an offense to a failure, but it is more difficult.
Well, and I think you say, you know, like you say, that score, while we look at it in today's day and age and say, wow, that was sort of low scoring. I mean, let's be honest, that's some decent amount of points considering, what college football used to be. 16-13 was not out of the question. So I think, yeah, maybe it's not as precise as you might like it to be, but yeah, bowls are not going anywhere. To be honest, BCS was done in a lot easier than the bowl system would be done in. The bowls are not going anywhere. And frankly, I like the fact that New Year's Day is now bowl time. I like that those big games are on New Year's. Yeah, I think that's fun.
Yeah, they've done a nice job of consolidating the big games.
You get a little break, but you get that as the carrot at the end. All right, back to the inbox from Caleb. Caleb says, I know Jason Terry wants out of Sacramento. This man can shoot lights out and is a veteran leader. I think he would be a big step up over Derek Fisher. Still talk about what does the Thunder need to do in the offseason, Barry?
Jason Terry? For crying out loud. I saw Jason Terry play college basketball in the year of our Lord, 1999. The guy is old, and he's not statesman old like Derek Fisher. He's just sort of old. If you want JoJo White also? I mean, you got to move on. The Thunder has a shooter in Anthony Morrow, so they really don't have any use or need for Jason Terry.
Yeah, and I think that's right. Now, do they maybe have the Derek Fisher Memorial chair in the locker room? I don't know that they've got that veteran guy necessarily that can sort of be that force in the locker room, but frankly, I'm not sure there are many guys like Derek Fisher out there who demand that sort of respect. I think it was Nick Collison who's been around as long as anybody else in that locker room saying last year at the end of the season that there really he'd never had a teammate like Derek Fisher before. He's had a lot of teammates. So I don't think you're going to find a lot of guys like Derek Fisher, but it's good to remember too that these young guys that are the superstars are now a lot older. So maybe it's their turn to transition into that role of leader in the locker room and be that guy or those guys for this franchise. All right, Barry, back to the inbox from Tim. Some more great college football here. Mike Gundy seemed a lot more cordial at his press conference this week. I have always found that you get a lot less coach speak from Mike. What about that, Barry?
I didn't notice. I did not notice that Gundy was more cordial. I've always found him to be fine at most press conferences. I don't think that's a problem. Coach speak, I don't really equate that with Gundy either. I would agree. I don't know that he always levels with us. I don't know that he always tells us the truth, but he generally doesn't give us coach speak either. So I guess I'm going to have to pay more attention next week to Gundy's press conference. I didn't see a whole lot of difference this time.
Well, and you know what? The beginning of the year, there's not a whole lot of reason to get prickly just yet. I mean, if anybody was going to get prickly, it's probably Bob Stoops after the tough offseason that the Sooners have had. And he was even in a somewhat decent mood with his first weekly press conference. So I guess maybe does optimism reign supreme in the preseason and everybody feels good?
Yeah, I mean, if Gundy was cordial with his press conference, think had it been if they were playing Savannah State instead of the Seminoles.
He'd have passed out candy. All right, back to the inbox. This one from Kevin. Kevin says, forget about the halfback pass. I see a tight end pass in OU's future. I'm thinking Stoops unveils it against Texas. Blake Bell back behind center, Barry.
Let's all settle down, please. Let's settle down. I don't think the Sooners are going to run a tight end around. I do think
it'd be a very slow developing end around.
It would be.
And I like Blake Bell, and I think he's speedy, but he's not.
It
that
would be
speedy.
very slow developing. I would not be crazy. When they ran it with, is it Jalen Saunders? I think fired one up at Kansas State last year.
LaColton Bester, I think.
Bester, that's right, LaColton Bester, and he showed a pretty good arm. But you get a split end out there, and he can run around and make it happen quick. No, I think you're going to be seeing Blake Bell catch passes now. You wrote about the Belldozer. Mm-hmm. The Belldozer might be back. They may throw out of the Belldozer, but I don't think you're going to see a tight end around in OU's future.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now, they may throw on occasion if they do use the Belldozer. I think they've got a little bit more flexibility and belief in what Blake Bell could do with his arm out of the Belldozer package, but lots of big revelations here in the last week or so as it pertains to Blake Bell at the quarterback position. Jason Kersey, our guy, breaking the story a week ago that Blake Bell was taking some snaps at practice under center. That was due in large part to some depth issues for the OU quarterbacks. But now we learn the Belldozer. It lives. I think they'll use it unless they get some quality depth at that quarterback position, and that would basically have to come with Baker Mayfield being deemed eligible by the NCAA. Without that happening, I think sticking Trevor Knight between the tackles a bunch in sort of short yardage power situations, I don't think they want to do that all the time. I think we'll maybe see some Blake Bell in the Belldozer. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.